In the game of the week, defending champion Crvena zvezda steamrolled Buducnost in Podgorica. With an amazing second-half performance, Partizan overcame Igokea, while Karpos pulled off another upset in Skopje. He represents the future of Croatian basketball. Fans in Zadar eagerly await his return from injury. Meet Lovro Basi. And as usual, we wrap things up with the top 5 plays of the round. Welcome to ABBA magazine. Mornar made a roster overhaul in the past week. The club brought in Boris Bakic to cover both guard positions. Former member of Buducnost, Partizan, Crvena zvezda, Radnički Kragujevac, Igokea, j.t.d and Metalac arrived from Mladost Zemun. The club from Bar also announced the termination of contracts with 2 players, Nemanja Krstić and Cole Dickerson. The American averaged 9.6 points per game, while the former Serbian national team member averaged 3.6 points per game. Owen Klassen is the new member of Buducnost Podgorica. Klassen arrived as a front-court reinforcement at the direct request of the coach Ilias Zuros. The 208-centimeter tall Canadian arrived from the German club Phoenix Hagen, but this will not be his first taste of the ABBA League. 2 seasons ago, Klassen was a member of MZT Skopje. Olympia Ljubljana made some roster changes as well. The first was the amicable termination of contract with Marko Mlađan. Injury prevented Mlađan to appear in more than 3 ABBA League games, where he averaged 4 points per game. Semen Shashkov also left the team after appearing in only 4 games in the regional competition. Milenko Veljković will spend the rest of the season on a loan to Mladost Zemun. Last season he played in the finals with Megalex, but only made 1 appearance this season, so the team decided to let him gain more experience in the Basketball League of Serbia. Crvena zvezda held on to a perfect first part of the ABBA League season by defeating Buducnost in the game of the round 77-54. While we were hoping for a dramatic encounter in Morača Hall between the top 2 teams, the defending champion once again displayed its dominance in the region. The team from Belgrade was once again rock solid on defense, controlling the tempo and completely neutralizing Marcus Williams. The team from Podgorica had trouble matching up in the paint with Savovic still recovering from injury. They took the lead only once at the very beginning. The first basket was followed by 13 unanswered points by the visiting team. Still, the home team fought back and cut the lead down to 3 points at the end of the first quarter. However, they could match Crvena zvezda's effort for only 2 minutes in the second quarter. Nate Walters led the charge of the visiting team, whose lead grew with every passing minute. Their defense completely suffocated the home team, and Buducnost managed to reach a double digit of points in this period in the very last minute. The halftime score read 44-28 in favor of Crvena zvezda. There were only a handful of times when Buducnost could rival their opponent, and one such occurred with the visiting team up by 21. Buducnost scored 9 unanswered points, and it looked like they could be back in the game. But the team from Serbia resumed control of the game immediately after that. The team from Podgorica had one last chance to redeem themselves at the end of the last period, but they failed to score from 4 consecutive possessions. The home team scored only 8 points during the fourth quarter, and they suffered their worst defeat in the history of this derby. Crvena Zvezda finished the game with an amazing 60% success rate for 2 points, and as many as 4 players scored in double digits. Kuzmic led the scoring list with 13 points without a missed shot. Jenkins finished the game with 11 points and 5 steals. Walters and Simonovic chipped in with 10 points each, while Stefan Jovic impressed with 7 points, 6 rebounds and 8 assists. J.R. Reynolds led Buducnost with 11 points, but with as many shots from the field. The defending champion will end the first part of the season 3 wins ahead of the second-placed Buducnost and Partizan. Their 13 triumphs are even more impressive when you consider the fact that they've done it with an average margin of 20 points. Partizan's win streak extended to 4 games with an offensive eruption in the second half against Igokea. With the 87-64 win, Partizan finished the first part of the regular season with the exact same record as the second-placed Buducnost with 10 wins and 3 losses. There was no shortage of drama in Aleksandar Nikolic Hall. Igokea started off on the wrong foot, but both teams struggled with long-distance jumpers in the first half. Home team was slightly better in the first quarter and hustled its way to a 5-point lead. When Partizan took a 21-15 lead at the start of the second quarter, few could imagine that it would take the black and white team 8 minutes to score the next basket. Struggling to find any offensive rhythm, the home team was on the mark for only 1 3-pointer in 13 attempts. Coach Dragan Bajic's men never let an opportunity slip away, and with a 16-1 run, raced to a 9-point lead. Even though they were left without Robert Trikic early in the game due to an ankle injury, the visitors still kept control of the game flow and held a 33-27 lead at the halftime. In the second minute of the second half, Michovic's 3-pointer gave the team from Aleksandrovac a 9-point lead once again. But it was evident that coach Aleksandar Džikic's team was picking up steam. Improved defense led to points in transition. With that, the 3-point shot started falling in as the rejuvenated Partizan players, in stark contrast to the first half, shot 11 for 13 from the distance. Fantastic Will Hatcher led the way with only 1 miss in 7 attempts. The team from Belgrade kept biting into the lead and finally completed a comeback with 32 points in the third quarter. Partizan kept a foot on the gas pedal in the fourth quarter with 60 points in the second half and never let the visiting team come close. Will Hatcher scored a game-high 21 points, Stefan Birčević scored 5 less with 10 rebounds, while Robinson added 12 points. Strahinja Mičović impressed for Igokea with 14 points and 6 rebounds. Vuk Radivojević was the leading scorer with 15 points but took 22 shots. Despite the loss, champion of Bosnia and Herzegovina can be satisfied with the outcome of the first half of the season and the steady 7-6 record. Cedevita kept a share of the 4th place in the standings with the crosstown rival Cibona with a 96-89 win over FNP in Železnik. Cedevita arrived without the injured Babic and Arapovic, while Džanan Musa was absent playing for the junior national team of Bosnia. Alex Radanov was missing from the FNP's lineup since he was called up to the junior national team of Serbia. Cedevita, however, saw the return of the American Scottie Hobson, who took in stride his demotion to the reserve team and played well enough in the Croatian Championship to return to the lineup. FNP started off hot and thanks to Dragan Apic went up by 5, but visitors responded with Žganec coming off the bench to give them a 24-19 lead at the end of the first period. Scottie Hobson played an inspired second quarter, scoring 12 points to give his team a 50-34 lead midway through the period. Cedevita kept a double-digit lead until the final minute of the third period, when Jonah Bolden and Kutlešić led FNP to within 3. Cedevita managed to keep the distance at 7 points at the end of the third quarter and opened the fourth with a 9-0 run to extend the lead to 16 points. Coach Branko Maksimovic inspired his men to keep fighting and they reduced the deficit to a single digit but were unable to avoid their 5th consecutive loss, 10th this season. Cedevita shot 13 for 25 for 3 points, with Rashad James leading the way with 18 points in the team's 9th win this season. Bolden scored 18 for the home team, while Kutlesic added 16 points. In the last game of the first half of the regular season, Olympia defeated Zadar in Tivoli 78-76 to keep the record for both teams at 5-8. Devin Oliver started off hot for the home team but found a match in Christian Krajina, who came off the bench for Zadar and scored all 11 of his points in the first half. The first quarter would go on to Olympia 24-18 thanks to Gregor Hrovat, who scored 5 consecutive points in the final minute. Zadar fought back in the second period and even grabbed the lead 32-30, but Olympia answered with 8 consecutive points from Mulalic, and Nikola Jankovic capped off the comeback for a 45-37 home team lead at the half. However, the offense went stagnant in the first 5 minutes of the second half, allowing Boris Barac to orchestrate a comeback by Zadar. With free throws by Marinkovic, the visiting team grabbed its highest lead, 56-51 in the dying moments of the third quarter. The game was tied entering the final minute at 75. Zadar held the possession with 24 seconds left when Jankovic sent Marinkovic to the foul line. Zadar's center got one of 2 free throws, and a quick foul sent Jefferson to the line on the other side. Olympia's point guard was accurate both times, and Zadar was behind once again, but it had possession. However, Mazalin couldn't convert. Oliver pushed the lead a point up with a free throw, giving the visiting team another opportunity, but this time it was Ramljak who missed a 3-pointer for the win. Marinkovic led the losing side with 17 points and 10 rebounds, alongside Barac and Vladovic, who scored 15 points each. Olympia's top scorer was Jankovic with 24, while Mulalic and Jefferson added 12 each in the win. The 21-year-old point guard Lovro Basi had some great performances for Zadar in the previous season, but this one was marred by a foot injury that kept him off the court since the preseason. Unfortunately, I broke my 5th metatarsal bone in my foot during practice, and I've been off the court ever since. I hope to return in 2 to 3 weeks. Even though he is sidelined, Basic is not wasting any time learning by watching the veteran teammate Jakov Vladovic. You can learn so much from Jakov. He is such a great point guard, so good at his craft. It's such a misfortune I couldn't be on the court alongside him from the very beginning. He was projected as one of the key players for his team, but he was unlucky during the practice. It was an accident. I stepped on the foot of the youngster Toni Jelenkovic. The bone broke and required surgery. But it's okay now. It healed as well as could be expected. How would he rate Zadar's performance this season? We changed our approach this season. We play at a higher pace. We are scoring more points. Our defense is not as good as it should be, but I like the new game plan. I like this kind of fast-paced offensive basketball. There were some games we should have played better, but it's okay so far. He was born in the city that breeds basketball and where he started his career. I was only 4 years old when I went to my first basketball practice and fell in love with the game. There is a strange bond between people from Zadar and basketball. There were numerous top-class point guards who played for Zadar. Yes, for a very long period of time Zadar had great point guards. There was a shortage at one point, but the management saw some of those qualities in me, and I hope I will prove them right. How would you rate the competition in ABA League? There are so many good teams this season, and I think it's one of the most competitive seasons ever. Crvena Zvezda is the most talented team and the most dominant one, but I think Cedevita might pull off a surprise. Following upsets over Buducnost and Cedevita, Karpos Sokoli pulled off another surprise in Skopje, defeating the finalists from the previous season, Megalex, 75-72. Coach of the youngest team in the league was left without Alpha Kaba, but we saw Jaramaz, Zagorac and Novak return to the starting lineup. Home team didn't take long to find rhythm on offense, and with 11 points from Dragan Labovic in the first period, raced to a 13-point lead. Mega improved on defense after conceding 25 points in the first period and scored some easy points off turnovers to tie the game at 33. Visitors took the lead in the last minute of the second quarter, but Dragan Labovic with 2 free throws prevented them from keeping it at the end of the first half. Teams exchanged points throughout the third quarter, but midway through this period, Karpos gained an upper hand with a 5-point lead. However, the visitors responded with 10 unanswered points and kept a 3-point lead at the end of the third quarter. Coach Dragan Nikolić's men were off to a good start in the final period and took the lead back. Mushidi responded with a 3-pointer on the other side, and a dramatic finish seemed unavoidable. Mega's team captain Rade Zagorac tied the game at 72, but a Karpos timeout was followed by the cool-handed execution by Dragan Labovic. Zagorac took the responsibility but didn't manage to score, and Dominik Mavra calmly confirmed the third win for the Macedonian team from the free throw line. The Labovic-Vrkić duo played an excellent game and scored 50 of the team's 75 points. Serbian center scored 28 points, while Vrkić added 22. 15 points from Tejić were not enough for Megalex to avoid another defeat. Depleted by injuries, Krka didn't manage to offer Cibona any resistance in Zagreb, and with the result 88-65, Damir Mulomerovic's team recorded their third win in a row and remained in the playoff picture. With only 9 available players, again without Marko Lukovic, visitors from Novo Mesto suffered their 5th consecutive defeat in ABA League. Dejan Mihev's men were keeping up during the first quarter. Cibona scored only once from beyond the paint, but Šakić and Reynolds found enough driving lanes to bring the home team an 11-point lead. However, with 2 3-pointers in a row, Krka was only 5 points behind. The outcome of the game was settled during the second quarter. Cibona's 3-pointers started falling in, while the visitors missed all of their 6 attempts from the distance. The home team's defense was excellent, holding the visitors to only 13 points. Cibona significantly extended the 17-point lead from the halftime on, as Jean-Marc Šiško kept hitting jumpers and setting up teammates in the third quarter. Coach Mulomerovic got a chance to rest the starters, and for Cibona's 9th win this season, they didn't need an extraordinary game by Žižić, who still managed to finish the game with a double-double, 10 points and 11 rebounds. Another great game by Šakić, who scored 16 points, he had 6 rebounds and 4 assists. While Šiško finished the game with 15 points, 6 for 6 from the field, 3 of which were 3-pointers. The most efficient player during Krka's 8th defeat was Dominic Elliott with 15 points and only 2 missed field goals. It was not a great shooting performance, but the game in Bar was nevertheless interesting. Mornar defeated MZT at home 65-64 in quite a dramatic fashion. Visitors coach Ante Nazor couldn't count on Stefan Sinovec and Xavier Thames, while Mornar decided to cut ties with Nemanja Krstić and Cole Dickerson right before the game. It seemed like the visitors lacked their guard duo more, as they managed to score their first and only field goal in the first quarter after Daniel Clark's 3-pointer 5 minutes into the game. Thanks to the free throws, MZT was up 13-12, but Mornar would hold on to the lead at the end of the period with 5 unanswered points. During the finish of the second quarter, visitors were only 1 point behind, but the home team responded with another run, this time 9-0. Mornar entered the third quarter with an 8-point lead, but with another scoring run managed to grab a game-high 14-point lead. They seemed to lose focus with the big lead of 11 points at the end of the third period. Mornar couldn't find offensive rhythm in the fourth quarter, misses kept mounting, and j.t.d, although without a three-pointer, kept patiently melting the lead. A number of missed free throws for the home team helped, and the lack of focus was evident after Boris Bakic made a mistake, sending an inbounds pass right into the waiting hands of Drenovac. Following a foul, Drenovac was accurate from the line and tied the game at 63. The hero of Mornar's win was Momo Jones, whose layup gave the home team the lead with only 3 seconds left. On the other end, Shalom Clough went from hero to zero as he missed an opportunity to send the game into overtime. With his team down 2, he missed the first free throw and then by accident drained the second one. In Mornar's fourth win, Waller was the top scorer with 11 points and Jones was the only other player to score in double digits. j.t.d went only 34% from the field, and in their 9th loss of the season hit only 1 three-pointer out of 12 attempted. The top scorers were Lalic and Clough with 14 points apiece, with Clough scoring 10 from the free throw line, but his second free throw missed cost the team from Skopje the game. Nikola Jankovic is the most valuable player of the 13th round of ABA League. Olympia's big man played an excellent game against Zadar. Jankovic led his team to victory with 24 points in 34 minutes, had 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 assist and 1 steal. All of that was enough for a performance index rating of 30 and an MVP title. We start our top 5 plays of the round review in Bar. j.t.d's point guard Solo Diabate shows off his ball handling skills. American from Karpos, Kendrick Perry goes coast to coast for a monster dunk at number 4. Scotty Hobson from Cedevita comes in at the 3rd spot, breaking ankles along the way. Octavius Ellis is back, this time with a monstrous block on Josh Scott. Zoran Vrkic goes to the top of our list with a baseline drive and a thunderous dunk. That will be all for this edition of ABA Magazine. We will be back next week with the top plays from the 14th round, so stay tuned.